Okay, visual effects soups and aspiring soups. This is officially and usually the last step of your involvement in a production in post, the dailies and editorial review. Firstly, what exactly are dailies? Well, as the name suggests, dailies are specific times set by the studio supervisors and producers on when to gather together to review any completed renders. This usually happens at least once a day, sometimes twice, or 3 times, depending on the production and studio protocol, where supervisors of the key departments involved would get into a room and view the progress of pushed or submitted shots. An editorial review, on the other hand, is a specific viewing session where a few of these same key supervisors, or the full visual effects team involved in the actual post-production of the shot sometimes, review the entire scene in the edit or cut sequence, basically reviewing them in draft or final mode as how the typical audience member would view them in a cinema. Now, how does the dailies process work for the supervisors themselves? Let's ask a few of our post soups on that process and what they look for in those shots during dailies.
So most of the time that we actually kind of try to find the right direction from the visual effects supervisor. For example, there's some shots that will have a practical explosion being shot in the scene, and we just need to decide if the explosion is okay and do we need to enhance it or do we need to put some other extra elements in it. And then when we just find the right artist to actually have them to actually either enhance the explosions or just completely replace the whole explosions. And they're much easier to just replace the whole thing, so we don't actually need to matching the look and also the colors and also the details of the explosion from the practical shots. Just a matter of to make the shots complete and also at the same time make the shot looks good.
Typically on my daily processes is I will try at least once a day to have a dailies review with my artists. I, throughout the day, will approve and give notes, but I believe that as far as a team morale, if everyone is a part of a daily session, it kind of boosts everyone's motivation to do better because they see what their other artists are doing. It also puts in context what people are doing, and for the most part, a lot of artists get lost on the box and don't socialize that much. So it forces people to kind of get up, step outside, and just kind of have a good laugh sometimes and just kind of talk, but at the same time reviewing our shots. I am ideally always looking for the storytelling process of my shots and make sure that they flow together in the edit. So even though we'll look at shots as individual, typically we always put it in the edit and we'll look at the edit as a whole.
The way dailies work is that there's a time of day, sometimes in the morning and the afternoons, sometimes the morning and the evenings. What's expected is that everyone who's working on shots is going to present some form of the shot that they're working on to the visual effects supervisor inside of a theater or at their workstation or at a big screen. What you're looking for is you're looking to see how far they've gotten with addressing whatever issue you've asked them to work on, whether it's incorporating some CG into a shot or something they have to create in the compositing world into the shot, whatever it is. You're just trying to see how far they've gotten along with it. So you bring them in, you talk about the shot, you talk about the notes you have for them, and then before they leave, you review the notes and make sure they are taking notes and have those notes available to them so they can do that specific work and get back to you with those notes accomplished.
Well, what will usually happen in a properly run situation is you'll have time early in the day when the director, the visual effects supervisor, and the department heads, and as many of their working artists as can fit in a room, will sit there and go through everything that was done in the previous day. The director will ask questions, why does that look like that, or that isn't what I want, or I'd like to have this happen. So it's an approval process and a review process, led by the director, helped by the various members of the department.
So basically, a production's visual effects soup's involvement in dailies is simple. You basically aim and look for the overall look and design, of the visual effects in these shots. Now, if you are a post soup for a specific department, however, you will usually be the one reviewing the shots for technical and execution errors, usually with and in the presence of other soups in the room as well. Your main goal is not just to ensure that the look of the visual effects is there, but also to see if there are any technical blips made by the artist that catches your eye. Now, a production's visual effects soup's involvement in editorial reviews, though, changes depending on the studio. Usually the purpose of the edit review is just to see how the shots look overall in the entire sequence and to check for continuity in the edit. Depending on the production, whether the supervisor is in-house or not, and the studio processes themselves, a production visual effects supervisor may or may not need to be present for this type of review. The editorial reviews usually apply more to the post soups and team leads than any other member of the production visual effects crew. Usually, once the editorial or dailies reviews are done, the coordinator will then be the one handling the final shots and assets, sending them off to the editor of the production or to the next appropriate studio. And that's it. You're done. Woohoo! Alrighty, we've officially come to the end of the visual effects soup's involvement in post. Now, if that was way too much info, no worries. That is what the next section is for, which will summarize in general things that you should know as a new or aspiring visual effects soup.